Ukrainian forces have advanced in the Kherson region, hugging the shore of the Dnieper River, penetrating into Russian lines. 3 settlements have been liberated. Excuse me while I butcher the names of the settlements. Pyatikhatki, Savlukivka, Kachkarivka. Let's jump to the military map. This is the Kherson front. This map has not been updated, but these 3 settlements hugging the shore of the Dnieper River. The furthest liberated settlement is about 5 kilometers from the front line as it was yesterday, so Ukrainians, at least from the shore of the Dnieper River, have penetrated through the first Russian defense lines, but I don't think they have any secondary defense lines because this is such a fresh front. Making these lines takes time. They definitely don't have the 3-line defense here. Ukrainians might continue hugging the shore of the Dnieper River. Apparently the new strong point of the Russian forces is Milova. They pulled back here 3 to 4 days ago already, fortifying this settlement here. And you can see there's a small pocket of water here at Dnieper is penetrating into inland. So if Ukrainians connect to this part here, then the front runs according to the water. And since there is only fields, there are no settlements, this area here falls into Ukrainians' hands in no time. I don't see Russians defending the fields. I think they will pull back to the settlements. Like Milovye, Sukhanovye here, Chervony Yar over here. Yeah, there's no forests here. There's only ditches, fields and the small tree lines next to the ditches and next to the fields, which makes it really difficult to attack actually. I would assume if Ukrainians penetrate hugging the Dnieper River, they will follow this road. Because it is wet right now all over the Ukraine. It's the wet season, it's autumn, so roads are a blessing if they exist. This road exists, and as you can see, it also crosses the water body that is connected to the Dnieper, so it's vitally important to get a control of this road. But the next big battle here will happen around Milovye. My love. I'm not an Estonian soldier anymore, or an Estonian YouTuber. I am now a Lord of Scotland, and these are my lands. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom, where landowners, such as myself, are referred to as lairds, or lords and ladies in English. They allow people to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest, so that you can call yourself a lord or a lady. Bow before me, peasant. Off with your head. I'm supposed to be a nice lord. Off with your head. Your certificate features a unique plot number with which you can see the exact location of your land. It makes a great last-minute gift. They even have couple packs that come with adjoining plots of land. You could officially change your name to Lord or Lady and get it on your credit card, plane tickets, etc. if your country allows it. You can even get it on your dating profiles. I mean, have you seen some lords up in Tinder? You're gonna be the first. Established Titles is committed to planting a tree with every order. It is a fun, novel way to help preserve the picturesque woodlands and biodiversity of Scotland while supporting global afforestation efforts. Established Titles is actually running a massive sale right now. Plus, if you use the code Estonian69, yeah, I'm not kidding you, the code is Estonian69, you get an additional 10% off. Established Titles told me that the first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot within a few minutes of walking. Depending on how many of you want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our own little kingdom. Go to establishedtitles.com/Estonian69 to get your gifts now and help support the channel. Belarus might attack Ukraine from the north. We go to operator Starsky. He posted this 21 hours ago. And this is not clickbait. Things are getting serious. Yesterday, Minsk officials accused Ukraine in preparation for attacking the territory of Belarus. I think we can expect Belarusian invasion in 3 to 7 days, involving approximately 6 battalion tactical groups, supported by tanks and armored vehicles and numerous Iranian UAVs, including kamikaze drones, that were brought to the Belarusian territory. I have zero doubts that this is going to happen, and I have also zero doubts that they all will die. Thank you, operator Starsky. News are filled with this, Twitter is filled with this, I have plenty of sources for you. We have heard many times that Belarus might join the war, and it has always been a way to intimidate the West. But now Putin and Lukashenko have actually signed an agreement of forming this Russian-Belarusian joint force. And this all happened after the Crimean bridge explosion, so Russia has really started pushing Belarus into this conflict. When I looked into it, I found this. Lukashenko agreed to deploy a joint regional group of troops, informing that Russian troops will be arriving in thousands and stationed in Belarus, making it as staging ground for launching a new offensive on Ukraine. Justification is yet to be found. Everything points to the direction that Russia and Belarus are trying to open a new front in the north, trying to take Kiev again. Lukashenko, NATO and a number of European countries are considering options for possible aggression against Belarus. So apparently this task force with the Russian and Belarusian forces is created to respond to the aggression on the Belarusian Western Front. We're talking about Poland and Lithuania, who are supposed to be very aggressive against Belarus. Well, this is all bullshit. This new force is created only for Ukraine. Let's jump to the military map again and let's see where they could attack from the north. And we see there are 3 concentrations of Belarusian troops on the Ukrainian border. On the west side of Ukraine and Belarus, near the settlement of Ivanova, there's a concentration of Belarusian forces. This does not state that they will attack from where they are concentrated right now. They can move, but as of now, central Ukraine-Belarusian border closest to Kiev, there's a concentration of Belarusian troops near the settlement of Elsk, and close to the Belarusian, Russian and Ukrainian borders, you know, the connecting point, there's a concentration of Belarusian troops. There's the city of Gomel, there's an airport near the settlement of Bizochna Buda. All of these concentrations are close or semi-close to military airports. And of course, they need to be. We have no information where this joint force is going to be stationed, but if they want to attack Ukraine again, I don't see any other reason. Then I think the prize is Kiev again. I don't see any other reason why they would attack. Of course, to divert Ukrainian troops from other fronts to defend the northern border. Let's follow the main roads and let's follow the last invasion, right? Like it happened in the last time. Hell, the last time they went straight through the Chernobyl forest, which is over here. Hundreds of men got radiation sickness. Ukrainians would divert troops to defend Kiev and defend the northern border. Hell, this time Ukrainians would not let them over the border. Battles would start immediately on the border. And Ukrainians have troops stationed on the border here. Ukrainians are taking the Belarusian threat very seriously from the beginning of the war. If the attack would happen, I don't think penetration such deep as last time would happen into Ukrainian territory, because this time Ukrainians are ready and this time they have more tanks and higher morale, more weapons. The thing with Belarusian army, it is that it's horribly under-equipped, more so than the Russian army. The Belarusian armed forces and the police force, the most equipped is riot police. They have the modern equipment, modern vehicles, everything, very modern stuff that you would see in America or in Germany, because they keep the Lukashenko regime in power, the riot police. The army is incredibly poorly equipped. Most equipment, same as the Russians, only they have even less of it because they have given their equipment to the Russians already. Since they didn't join the war directly, they gave all their surplus equipment to the Russian infantry, which is now destroyed. The Belarusians don't really have much to contribute to the war with. Yes, they have manpower, but the morale is stupidly low. Their tanks are in the same condition as the Russian tanks. So as Operator Starsky put it the best, I have zero doubts that they will all die. If they come, Ukrainians will knock them out cold. Russians are leaving Crimea in mass. They started to leave when the first attack on Saki airbase happened a few months ago. And after this Crimean explosion, really Russians in Crimea feel very threatened and very much stuck. Because if the bridge would be thoroughly destroyed, they would be stuck. They couldn't go anywhere, and then Ukrainians would be there in a few months. And then suddenly there are Russians in Ukrainian home territory who have supported the war. I mean, it's not a good position to be in, so they're leaving. And Putin has poured billions into that peninsula to make it attractable for Russians. He has worked really hard to Russianize this peninsula. And now the Russians are going away. So all of his life work is bleeding dry. This morning, Russia launched a massive missile strike against all bigger cities of Ukraine. Such a big of a missile attack has not happened for months because Russia is very low on missiles. As much as we know, at least 75 different missiles were shot from different places, from ships, from Belarusian soil and from the Russian soil. Missiles hit Kiev, city center. Kiev hasn't been bombed for months. This is a video of a missile hitting a bridge in Kiev. The bridge was okay, which cannot be said about some other bridges that have been hit with something recently. Russians also hit Shevchenko University in Kiev at the time when students were going to the class. This was a pure terror attack, you cannot call it any other way. Zelensky has called out the powers of the world to recognize Russia as a terrorist state, after which United States Congress passed a bill to recognize Russia as a terrorist state. Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, I think, have already done it. I'm very glad if US follows. Today, 13 ships carrying over 230,000 tons of Ukrainian grain left Odessa ports and headed to countries in Africa, East Asia and Europe. 305 ships have exported 6.8 million tons of grain from Ukraine already since the shipping corridor has been established. This is very important because Ukrainian biggest export is food products and grain, and the revenue they get from selling this grain to other countries pays the wages of the Ukrainian troops. And they have hundreds and thousands of troops right now. If you count all the reservists still going through training, so in a few months Ukraine will have 500,000 troops under gun. They need to be able to pay the wages, and these grain shipments are not enough, but they're vitally important. Moscow TV tower is on fire. Special Kherson cat put it the best. Radio and TV tower in Moscow could not withstand the flow of Russian propaganda and caught on fire. Nicely put. Why is this important? TV towers are a symbol of free speech and a symbol of getting information from the outside world. 1991, when Estonia and Lithuania were one of the first countries to break away from the Soviet Union, Russian tanks came into the capitals of Vilnius and Tallinn. Both capitals had civilians forming human walls around TV towers to maintain the connection with Finland and outside world and the information, free radio, free speech. In Vilnius, Russian tanks drove over the people. I think about 12 died. In Estonia, the leader of the Soviet command was General Dudayev, the future president of the Chechen Republic in the time of the first Chechen wars, and he was very sympathetic about Estonians because of Chechnya, who was also under the Soviet yoke. So he gave the order not to drive over the people with tanks. TV towers are important, and one is burning in Moscow right now. Thank you for watching, my friends. Thank you for staying with me. I'll be sure to bring you the news from Ukraine. If you like what I do, Patreon link is in the description, as well as Knock 'em Out Cold cups and t-shirts. And I also want to say thank you to everybody who wrote to YouTube about the demonetization issue. It has been fixed. The channel is monetized and I'm really happy about it. It is thanks to you, my friends. Thanks to you. You're watching it, you're commenting. I really feel blessed to be able to do this. Until my next video, Slava Ukraini.